Hey class, welcome to the tutorial of citations. I'm going to go over why you have to cite, what the stipulations are and requirements, and what's the difference between a citation and reference. Okay, so just to get things kicked off here, um, citation requirements, you always have to cite. So um, each paragraph that you write has to have a citation in it because you are not the expert. Students are never the experts. I'm not even the expert. If I was to write a academic paragraph, I have to give credit to the author by citing because I didn't do the study and neither did you. There's no quotes at all used. You're paraphrasing, but you still have to cite. Okay, just because you said it in your own words doesn't mean you still own the actual fact itself. So if you're talking about anything factual in your paragraph, in every paragraph, you have to have a citation. Okay? No citations in a paragraph means no credit. So you might have a list of sources in the reference page, but if you didn't use that source and cite it in that paragraph you wrote, there's no credit. Okay? You can earn up to 20% point deduction if you don't cite at all. So if there's minimal citing, you might even still have 20% because majority of the essay probably has no citations. Okay? So you have to cite and put the source in the reference. Okay? Citations versus references. This is a key difference, okay? I put two examples that I'm going to be working with and showing you some examples on how to actually use these sources and where to find the information, okay? So here's examples. Examples of citations are last name and year, okay? If there's one, all you do is just one last name and then the year. If there's more than one last name, then you do the three names with the and symbol. You don't type out and. Now I'm going to go over different scenarios of how you can use a citation in a sentence where you actually use and instead of this symbol right here. But I'm just showing you examples. Now I took these two from these sources here. This is a reference, okay? So if I go back, this is going to be in my body of work. So when I write my paragraphs, this is all I need to write in there is my citations. I don't need to know, hey, this is from an article, this is from an article from this research area, from this study. No. You're not even supposed to write, a study was conducted, and then you just go on. That's not appropriate either. You have to cite the actual source. So if you say that there's a study done, a study showed that XYZ occurred, at the end of that sentence, you better have a citation. If you don't, and you just rely on your reference page, zero credit for it. Okay? So notice this is a reference. So when you put something into the actual essay, in the paragraph, like in a sentence, and I'll show you in a second, that tells me to go to the bottom of the reference page and look at this information right here. So you don't have to type the name of the article in the essay. You're just putting it right here in a reference page so that I can see it. Okay, let me go over some examples for you right now. So here's an example of me writing something in a paragraph or starting a paragraph out. Let's say I'm writing a paragraph and I want to use this fact from Bavik. Okay, now this is one way I could use it in a sentence. Instead of saying a study done in 2020 stated that, which is inappropriate to say, you could say according to Bavik, and inside the parentheses is the year of the article. And remember, when I see this, that's telling me that if I want to see the rest of the article to verify the information, I can go down to the reference page, find Bavik 2020, and look at the rest of the information. Okay? Whether I'm a teacher or whether I'm just a reader and observer, some general public person who just wants to read about time management, or in this case, how management can be more productive with their employees and be more positive. And this is the fact I'm using, okay? And this is me paraphrasing. I'm not quoting anything. You shouldn't quote anything either. Stay away from quoting, okay? Since UNV 104, all the assignments will say paraphrase and cite. Now, like I said, just because you're writing this in your own word doesn't mean you own the information. I didn't come up with this information about management needing to have trust, honesty, and have the ability to listen to their subordinates. Even if I said that in my own words, I still didn't do the study. I have to tell you what Bavick said. Okay, it has to come from Bavick. Now, if I want to use something from the Bavick or any article, um, and cite it without stating the author, I don't have to say a study done stated that. I don't need to say that. I just need to be declarative, make a declarative statement of the fact itself, like by saying integrity and care are major attributes that management should display when leading their subordinates. And I don't need to say anything else other than put the citation at the end of the sentence like this. That gives credit and legitimacy to the actual statement. Otherwise, if I don't have that statement, I'm passing off that information as my own. I don't receive credit. And even though it's not a quote, that falls under the guidelines of plagiarism because I'm stealing information and not giving credit to it. So at the end of the sentence that you're giving, make sure you cite. Notice how easy that is. Last name and year. That's it. You don't need initials. You don't need abbreviations. I don't need anything else but just last name and year. It's very, very simple. Next, I want to show you what you do when you have multiple researchers. So a lot of students will come here and find out they'll have 3 researchers and not know how to cite this stuff. Okay, so let me go ahead and show you how to do that. But one of the things I want to show you is that in this information here, again, you're not going to use anything to do with the name of the article or anything else for that matter. All you're focused on is last names of the Donnelly, Kovar, Fisher, and the year. That's it. Okay? Don't confuse yourself. Students confuse themselves with the very simple things of citations, but let me show you an example. So this is how I would use Donnelly, Kovar, and Fisher. An interesting point by, and then I would name the researcher's name, is that perceived control of time only enhances confidence and satisfaction, but does not relate to performance. So that's a paraphrased statement. I didn't quote, again, no quoting, I just wrote that on. Now, of course, you see me here with red saying continue on with the paragraph, meaning after you state the fact, you go on to your analysis and add examples and all that kind of stuff. Okay? So I'm just showing you how to cite. Now, if you look at this, I didn't say an interesting point done by a research article, because if you state that and don't mention the names, you're going to get no credit for it. So make sure you give the names. Citing is very simple, as you see, because look, there's no difference between this one and the one stated above, like I showed you before. Look at the 2 examples. I use last names, year. Now, when you use more than one, you got to put an and before the last of the last name. So if this was Donnelly and just Kovar, it'd be Donnelly, no comma, it'd be Donnelly and Kovar 2019. But since there's 3, it'd be Donnelly, Kovar, and Fisher. Okay? Now, if I was going to use a fact and cite it at the end, I don't have to say again, just to reiterate, I don't have to say according to research or research says. You don't have to state that. You could just say, make the statement in the middle of the paragraph, beginning of the paragraph, wherever you put it. Time management practices is influenced by a person's level of locus of control and perceived control of time. Bam, and then I cite. But notice this one, I have to use the @ symbol. So inside the parentheses, you use the @ symbol. And again, notice last names, year. That's it. Okay? One key factor that I want to mention too is the citation closes the sentence. Okay? You don't put the period here. You put the period right here at the end. Okay? The citation is part of the sentence. Again, look at the example right above it. Notice how I use last name, comma, year. Last names, comma, year. Nothing more or less. Students confuse themselves all the time on citing, thinking, hey, this is how I cite, okay? Also, I want to make mention of something too. Make sure you're not just throwing links at the reference page, okay? You have to use APA reference requirements, okay, format. You can't just throw links or a title or the researcher's name. That doesn't count, okay? You have to give me the full board thing of these research of the references. Okay, I hope this helped out. If there's any confusion, please reply and let me know. I know this is a little bit longer than I would like, but let me know if you have questions.